Collier Wise.
Here.
Erickson.
Here.
Holland.
Here.
Clarion Mines.
Here.
Holly Mines.
Here.
Price.
Here.
Ward.
Here.
Wilson.
Here.
Mayor Powell.
Here. Would everyone please stand for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 3 are minutes from June 20th special session and June 20th regular session. Take a motion to approve. Motion to second to approve both minutes. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item 4, adoption of the agenda. John and Mike, I guess we have one. No, we're fine with the agenda. Any comments? Okay, a motion and a second to approve the agenda as printed. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Under visitors be heard, addressing the council, persons addressing the council shall use the microphone at the podium. Please raise your hand to be recognized. Go to the podium and state your name and address. Members of the public may speak under visitors be heard on any topic not on the agenda. Remarks are limited to 5 minutes and no decision will be made at this time. For agenda items, public testimony will be taken at the beginning of each agenda item after the subject has been announced by the mayor and explained by staff. Any citizen who wishes may speak one time for 5 minutes on each agenda item. Public testimony will then be closed and the topic will be given to the governing body for possible action. At this point, only city council members and staff may discuss the current agenda item unless a council member moves to allow another person to speak and there's unanimous consent from the council. Questions from council members, however, may be directed to staff or a member of the public through the presiding officer at any time. At this point, we have a proclamation of recognizing July as Park and Recreation Month. And Clarine, if you would read that, please.
Whereas park and recreation programs are an integral part of communities throughout this country, including Vermillion, and whereas our parks and recreation are vitally important to establishing and maintaining the quality of life in our communities, ensuring the health of all citizens, and contributing to the economic and environmental well-being of a community and region. And whereas park and recreation programs build healthy, active communities that aid in the prevention of chronic disease, provide therapeutic recreation services for those who are mentally or physically disabled, and also improve the mental and emotional health of all citizens. And whereas park and recreation programs increase a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas parks and natural recreation areas improve water quality, protect groundwater, prevent flooding, improve the quality of the air we breathe, provide vegetative buffers to development, and produce habitat for wildlife. And whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. And whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and whereas the City of Vermillion recognizes the benefits derived from parks and recreation resources. Now therefore, we the governing body of the City of Vermillion, South Dakota, do hereby proclaim July 2016 as Parks and Recreation Month and encourage all citizens to participate in this observance. Dated at Vermillion, South Dakota, this 5th day of July 2016.
Thank you, Clarine. And Jim, if you receive this proclamation. And if you'd like to. Yep. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the council. I'd like to say thank you for recognizing Vermillion Parks and Recreation as Parks and Recreation Month here in July. It's something that's very special to us in our department. Tonight I have Travis Taggart. Travis is our newest member of our little field that we have in Parks and Recreation. Along with Travis, we have Tyler Williamson, Tyler Tregasor, Ryan Badke, and I think that's our 5 of us, isn't it? Yeah, so that's 5 of us. The golf crew is out there too, and we consider them part of our Parks and Recreation Brotherhood. But we'd like to say thank you for your support. For us to do our job, we need to have the support of council, and we really do appreciate all that you do for us. I'd also like to say thank you to the other departments that we work with. Really, we do what we feel is a very good job serving the citizens of Vermillion, but without the help of light and power and engineering and the streets, and I mean, every department really does help our department provide services to this community, and so we just want to make sure that they get recognized a little bit with this as well. I would like to extend an offer to you, members of the council, on July 12th, 11:30 to 1, over in the North Apprentice Shelter. We will be honoring the Parks and Recreation Month, and for all those that help us do what we do to provide services. And like I said, we'd like to invite you to have a burger or a brat with us, 11:30 to 1, July 12th. It's a Tuesday. If you could join us, we would be glad to have you there. So thank you very much for recognizing Parks and Recreation Month.
Jim, thank you very much, and I thought you did a beautiful job with the park yesterday. You kept the bugs down, and it was a very pleasant day. And Travis, welcome. It looks like they made you work out in the sun a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Thank you very much, and welcome to our...
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience that has a comment or question that they'd like to raise at this time that's not on the agenda? Anyone? Okay. Turn to old business. We have second reading of Ordinance 1343, amending Title 15, Land Usage, Chapter 155, modifying applicable standards for the permitted use of an electrical substation and adding a provision to the landscaping standards required for electrical substations. And Derek, please.
Yeah, so basically this amended ordinance basically takes the applicable standards of the permitted use of electrical substations in each one of these residential districts and takes out the language and leaves the reference sections. And one of the reference sections, a provision is added to 155077 landscaping standards, which reads, special requirements for electrical substations. A fence 7 feet in height shall encompass an electrical substation, and opaque screens shall be provided for any side abutting residential zone. So basically this would save the city and taxpayers a lot of money because it would decrease the required length of the fence going around an electrical substation because it doesn't require to be along setback lines necessarily. And minimum height requirements and screen opacity would remain, and administration recommends the city council approve of this, and the only financial considerations would be the cost it would to reprint the ordinance.
Okay. Thank you, Derek. Is there anyone in the audience that has a question on this item? Seeing none, turn it to the council.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the second reading of Ordinance 1343. This is a second reading, so we have to do a roll call vote. And if as you can see, it's 9 yes and 0 no, so the motion has been approved. Thank you. Next, we have presentations to outgoing council members. Thank you. I'd like to read a proclamation of appreciation for Clarine Mines. Whereas Clarine Mines has given unselfishly of her time to improve our community, and whereas Clarine has brought a perspective of experiences from the ownership of distinct and different small business experiences to provide a long-time business owner perspective, and has been the voice of many proclamations heralding community accomplishments and awareness. And whereas Clarine has diligently served the citizens and businesses of Vermillion through her keen observations of what the real issue was and provided succinct but complete comments. And whereas Clarine has been an active, involved, and committed member of the City Council during her 8 years of service, and whereas Clarine has served the Northeast Ward and citizens of Vermillion as an alderman since 2008, Now therefore be it resolved that her fellow members of the Vermillion City Council, on behalf of the community and city staff, do hereby extend our deepest appreciation to Clarine Mines for her dedicated service to the community as alderman for the city of Vermillion City Council. Dated at Vermillion, South Dakota, this 5th day of July, 2016. Clarine? Second proclamation of appreciation for Howard Wilson. Whereas Howard Wilson has given unselfishly of his time to improve our community, and whereas Howard has been an advocate of what was best for Vermillion, was an active member of the City Hall Committee to build a legacy building, thoroughly researched issues to understand multiple viewpoints, and tirelessly promoted economic development as a way to grow Vermillion. And whereas Howard's experience as a long-standing downtown business owner and years of service on other boards provided a valuable perspective, and whereas Howard has served the Northwest Board and citizens of Vermillion as an alderman since 2008, and whereas Howard has been an active, involved, and committed member of the City Council during his 8 years of service, now therefore be it resolved that his fellow members of the Vermillion City Council, on behalf of the community and city staff, do hereby extend our deepest appreciation to Howard Wilson for his dedicated service to the community as alderman for the city of Vermillion City Council, dated at Vermillion, South Dakota, this 5th day of July, 2016. Howard. Well, we're losing 16 years of service. Yeah. Appreciate that. At this time, should we let Howard, Steve, should we let Howard do it?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries, we are adjourned. Thanks again. I think we did beat the record. But you said it didn't count.
Howard holds the record.
Okay. So it's appropriate now to call a meeting to order for the new city council, and if Mike would please do the installation of aldermen.
I'd like to ask Alderman Kelsey Collier-Wise, Brian Humphreys, Tom Sorensen, and Steve Ward maybe come down front and we'll do the oath of office.
We stand in front of you,
Yep.
we face you, and where?
Whichever way we want to do it.
Not me.
Camera's out here, okay. I'd ask you to repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Tom Sorensen,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota,
and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of alderman
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of alderman
of the City of Vermillion, South Dakota,
of the City of Vermillion, South Dakota,
according to the best of my abilities.
according to the best of my ability.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does it matter?
Well, you want to do your name tag, so hold on.
All right, at this point, I'd like Mike to call the roll.
Collier-Wise.
Here.
Erickson.
Here.
Holland.
Here.
Humphrey.
Here.
Mines.
Here.
Price.
Here.
Sorensen.
Here.
Ward.
Here.
Mayor Powell.
Here. I want to welcome you folks, both the returning and the new people, and I look forward to a very fruitful sessions with our city council. We've been fortunate to have very good council persons, and I see no reason why that should change at all. At this time, we have an adoption of the agenda. Somebody would approve that.
Mayor. Wait,
Motion and a second.
we need to add the fuel quotes on to the
Oh, that's
agenda,
right, I'm sorry.
11B,
I tried
I'm
to do it
sorry.
earlier. We do have one change to the agenda, and that is add 11B on the back, and that's for fuel quotes. Now, with that addition, would you redo that?
Move adoption of the agenda as amended. Second.
Motion is second to adopt the agenda as amended. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. The next item, we have to go through some housekeeping chores, is election of officers, and the first is for President of the Council. As you are well aware, the absence of the mayor, the president takes over. In the absence of both the mayor and the president, there's a vice president, so that's why we have those offices. So at this time, floor is open for nominations. Steve?
I would like to nominate Kelsey Collier-Wise for the president's office.
Yes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to elect Kelsey. Another?
I'd like to nominate Tom Sorensen. I guess I don't know, do we have to wait and vote, or
Another?
Kelsey then? Yeah, I want to Tom, yeah.
I would second.
Motion and a second to nominate Tom Sorensen. Any further? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the nominations. And Mike, would you have some paper that we could use for secret ballot? Vote for one. Mike?
Yep.
No, I just wondered if you count them. Would you count them, Mike, please? Jose, can you audit? Can you audit our auditor?
I think because of our public meeting laws that we have, doing it by secret ballot could be problematical. And so what I would say, you've got two nominees, and I would suggest that a roll call just simply be made and the individuals cast their vote on each respective one.
Okay, that has to be by voice because we don't have the
Yes.
equipment set up for new people.
Right.
So So you would say, take one.
I'm just concerned about the secret ballot
I see.
part of it.
I'm concerned.
And I don't see a way that you can vote for one and then vote for another. It seems like they both have to be voted on at the same time.
I don't, help me with that.
Well,
I mean, if you're saying each person, Mike would call the roll and each person would say a name, is that what you're saying, suggesting?
this is, something new to me.
Well, me too.
Obviously. But I just think that the secret ballot is not something you should do, because you're not really talking about something that would be the subject of an executive session, like qualifications or competence
Okay.
or anything like that. This is simply a motion to determine who's the second presiding officer after
Okay.
the mayor. And so if you want to have a vote on one of the individuals, and if that gets the majority, then that one would foreclose the vote on the other one, I would say. If that one fails, then there'd be a vote on the second one. Or you could
Or
do-
the other option would be have Mike call the roll and go through it once and each
That's
person
the-
name their
yes.
own.
That's
I prefer that.
the way you would do
I
it
prefer
both
that
at the
way.
same time.
I prefer that way. Consensus? Mike?
Could I ask a question, Jack or Jim? So, Jim, there's no provision that you know of that, it's an internal debate that has the purpose of a function of the body itself. So it seems to me that it wouldn't necessarily fall under the open meeting law, but
It's a statutory requirement, though, that you
It is
enact a president.
have a president and vice president. Okay.
And a vice president. It's supposed to be conducted at your annual meeting or your organizational meeting, and so I think it has to be publicly done, and so I think I just think secret ballot is going to violate that open meeting
Okay.
law.
all right, thank you.
Mike? I'm sorry?
Is it proper for either of us or both of us to abstain, or do we need to bear it all?
You're voting members of the council.
The
I don't
only,
think anything would rule you out.
Well, I mean, in the vote. I'm just curious.
as far as abstention or recusal, the requirement is if you have a direct pecuniary interest. I don't think that there's any extra payment of money that goes to the president or to the vice president, so I don't think there is a pecuniary interest that would befall either candidate.
Ready to vote?
Yep.
Mike?
Call your wives.
Call your wives.
Erickson. Don. Holland. Call your wives. Humphrey. Swanson. Mines.
Sorensen.
Price.
Call your wives.
Sorensen.
Sorensen.
Ward.
Call your wife.
Mayor Powell.
Call your wives.
You got 5 for Call Your Wives and 4 for Sorensen.
Congratulations. Now, we'll probably do, well, now we need vice president, so floor is open. I'm sorry? Okay. Kelsey? Wait a minute. Is there a second? I'll rule for lack of second. We'll move on. Another.
I would nominate Holland. Second.
We have a nomination, a second for Rich Holland.
Can I nominate Tom then?
I'm sorry?
Can I nominate Tom for vice president?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so we have a nomination and a second for Tom. Any others? Okay, so this time it's Rich and Tom. And I think we then will do the same procedure that we just did for the president. Is everybody ready to vote? Okay, Mike?
Collier-Wise.
Holland.
Erickson. Don. Holland. Humphrey. Mines. Price.
Holland.
Sorensen. Ward. Mayor Powell.
Holland.
Got 5 Holland, 4 Sorensen.
Okay, congratulations, Rich.
Thank you.
We have a lot of other duties to go through, and I want to announce that Mike has agreed to continue on as our finance officer and Jim as our city attorney, so I want to thank both of you for continuing your good work with us. In your packet, you should have found, if I can find it, a seating chart. Oh, I'm sorry. We have to make a motion on our finance officer.
Move approval from finance officer. City attorney.
We have to do one at a time.
Finance officer.
Okay, and we have a second on that, so all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Mike, now on our city attorney.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion and second to approve Jim as our city attorney. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you, Jim. Now, somewhere I think, did we have a seating chart?
Back page of this.
Item A. Okay. We have 4 committees for the council with representatives from the council, and each council person, I think, is on at 2. And so my recommendation is for Labor and Finance, Collier-Wise as chair, Holly Mines as on the committee, and Rich Holland and Price. For the surplus property appraisal, Price is chair, Erickson, Humphrey, Sorensen. Policies and procedures, Holland is chair, Collier-Wise, Sorensen, Ward. Utilities, Ward is chair, Erickson, Humphrey, and Powell. Let's see. I think then it'll also go with the joint powers. Holly has agreed to continue on with that. Library Board, Kelsey has agreed to continue on with that. Comments, questions? Go ahead, John.
Also, inside that packet, there's a few we didn't put back on there. I think there's just one more that comes to mind, and that is the tree board. As a council representative for that, it would be on about page 3 of that document. It's not listed on the back, but it's also part of your appointments.
Let's see. Tree board is as you can look through, you can see that there's just the tree board that needs an assignment this time, and Rich has been assigned to that. And I think that's the only one at this time. I think there might be one come up in December. Is that right? Okay. Wishes of the council?
Move approval for committees and committee assignments. Second.
Motion and a second to approve the city council committees and other committee assignments. Are there further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Let's see. The next is, I'm sorry, other appointments. City official depositories, and Mike, if you take that, please.
State statute requires the city council to designate the official depositories for city funds. Previously designated were the following official depositories: Core Trust Bank, First Bank and Trust, First Dakota National Bank, Bank of the West, Wells Fargo, South Dakota Public Funds Investment Trust, and the First National Bank in Sioux Falls. I would recommend that the City Council designate these financial institutions as official depositories for city funds for the coming year.
Council? Motion and a second to approve the designation of official depositories as Mike has outlined. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. The next is Consolidated Board of Equalization, and again, Mike, please.
The county, city, and school district have adopted a resolution that provides for the Consolidated Board of Equalization. While the three entities have adopted the resolution, the Director of Equalization has asked that the city reaffirm their intent to continue the Consolidated Board. The Consolidated Board meets in April of each year, and this was just kind of a good timing to get it in with the new board. The Consolidated Board is made up of city, county, and school members, and they meet on all appeals for properties within the city of Vermillion. If we didn't have the Consolidated Board, we'd have a separate city board that would make recommendations to the county board. If we heard an appeal and the county Director of Equalization did not feel it was correct, or the property owner didn't feel that he got treated correctly at the local board, he would have to go on to the county board. So having the Consolidated Board does it all in one time makes it a little easier for the citizens, and so administration recommends that the City Council continue the Consolidated Board of Equalization by a motion indicating they desire to continue the Consolidated Board.
Council?
Second?
Motion and second to approve the city being a part of a Consolidated Board of Equalization. Further comments? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. We also each time have to determine rules of order, and John, if you...
Thank you. Scattered across the table here, there's a few books. It's kind of a maroon color. It's Robert's Rules of Order, the 9th edition, and that's the one that we have used for a fair number of years, that there's some familiarity with that. And then also last year we adopted or developed those kind of placemat looking things that have a zoning map on one side and have a few of the basic motions on the other. As the mayor indicated during your reorganizational meeting, you're requested to or required to adopt some rules of order. We'd suggest the 9th edition of Robert's Rules of Order, as you have been using. And then also several years back, there was the Rules and Procedures document that has been updated when we changed the code 2008. And you'll get another copy of it coming up here next week with the orientation. We'd also recommend you reaffirm the Rules and Procedures of the City Council as previously adopted.
Thank you, John. Comments? Okay. Motion to second to approve the 9th edition of Robert's Rules of Order. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. New council members, there'll be a quiz next meeting. Okay. Public hearings are none. Old business, there is none. So I think we go down to new business. Item A, a resolution to enter into a partnership with Greening Vermillion. And Jose, please.
As part of the 1990 Clean Water Act, the city is required to comply with the requirements set in the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, or NPDES. The NPDES goals are to reduce the amount of pollutants and sediments entering our waters. In order to meet these requirements, the city adopted a stormwater management program, or SWMP. This program set goals for the city to help meet the NPDES goals. One of the goals of the program is to enter into a partnership with a group that would assist the city to meet some of the control measures described in the SWIP. Green Vermillion is an organization that has been very active in the community with coordinating facilities for the Earth Day celebrations and teaching seminars and classes about stormwater pollution and ways to improve water quality. Currently, the city is working with Green Vermillion to increase the public's awareness regarding storm drains through the Adopt a Drain program. This program allows the public to paint storm drain with a motif that informs the general public of where the storm drain drains to and where not to dump and what not to dump in the drain. Additionally, the program has placed stencils on inlets throughout the community, informing the public where the stormwater entering the inlet drains to. This one project alone has greatly benefited the city by increasing the public's awareness when it comes to stormwater drainage. We're hopeful that the participation will grow in the coming years and thus further increasing the public's awareness. At this point, the city's financial involvement is minimal. Up to this point, we have purchased stencils and provided some of the spray paint for the project. Staff expects that on a yearly basis, the cost would not exceed $500. This money is being paid out of the Storm Sewer Repair and Maintenance Fund. Administration recommends that the City Council approve the resolution recognizing the partnership with Green Vermillion and have the city engineer serve as the official city contact with the organization.
Thank you. Council? Motion is second to approve the resolution to enter into partnership with Green Vermillion. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item B, developers agreement between the city and Turner Excavation and Property Management, LLC. And again, Jose, please.
Thank you. The city's looking into entering into a developer's agreement with Turner Excavation and Property Management. Currently, they are in the process of constructing a fourplex on the southwest corner of the intersection between East Clark and Jefferson. There's quite a lot of trees there, and Mr. Turner has been removing some of the trees and the stumps and so forth to make way for his apartment. This area is zone R2, which is residential medium density, and that zoning allows for the construction of one fourplex per lot. City ordinance also requires that the property owner construct sidewalks, grading, curb and gutter, street surfacing and street lights, water and sewer improvements on all streets abutting the property to be developed. Due to the fact that this lot is a corner lot, at this point the city is asking the council to allow Mr. Turner to not develop currently Jefferson Street and have East Clark be the main frontage for the property. The agreement would require the following. The owner will have to construct a sidewalk along East Clark Street as a condition to the building permit. Construction of Jefferson Street would be delayed until it's either requested by the City Council or additional development leading the street is constructed. All water main extensions required along Jefferson Street will be completed when either the City Council requests the improvements or when Jefferson Street is constructed. All sanitary sewer extensions required along Jefferson Street will be completed when either the City Council requests improvements or when Jefferson Street is constructed, and the property owner will not be remonstrating against any assessments required along Jefferson Street regarding street or utility construction. The only financial consideration at this point would be the filing fee that the city will incur. Administration recommends that the City Council authorize the mayor to sign the developer's agreement with Turner Excavation and Property Management, LLC.
Thank you, Jose. Council? Comments, questions? Okay.
May I ask a question of the staff?
Certainly.
Mr. Mayor? Basically, this is simply a timing thing then for convenient purposes, and does it affect traffic or anything like that?
At this point,
except for a different time, perhaps.
Yeah, it's a timing issue, I guess. It helps the developer financially speaking because he doesn't have to pay for all the construction of Jefferson Street and the utilities and so forth. And then all of the access point would be off Clark Street. Now, if in the future, if something happens a little bit further south or whatever the case might be, that the city sees the need for Jefferson Street, then at that point we would be able to assess that portion, and he won't be able to fight the assessment for that.
Thank you.
Further questions?
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the developer's agreement with Turner Excavation and Property Management, LLC. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. 10C, declaring one vehicle surplus. Jose, please.
Thank you. Due to low usage, staff is asking that the council declare the 2007 Ford Crown Vic Victoria as a surplus, so that may be sold in the future. This vehicle was originally purchased for the police department as a police cruiser. It has been transferred to the engineering department. I think it was transferred in 2009 to the engineering department, and we have been using it as just as either a travel car of some sorts, or just if we needed to go along the city and look at projects. Staff would like the city council to declare the above-mentioned 2007 Ford Crown Vic surplus at a future city council meeting. Staff will ask the surplus property appraisal committee to meet and appraise this vehicle along with the 2006 Crown Vic that the police department is currently using. Receipts from the sales of the vehicles will go to the equipment replacement fund. Administration recommends declaring the 2007 Ford Crown Victoria vehicle as surplus.
Jose, when are you asking the appraisal committee to meet?
I guess we still don't have the replacement for the police for the 2006 Crown Vic, so whenever that replacement comes in, then we'll probably have at a different meeting, we'll have both of those vehicles be appraised at that point, but we don't have a meeting set at this point.
So probably at the next council meeting, the 18th?
No, we'll probably be, I'm hoping it's going to be towards the end, either beginning of August or towards the end of August.
Oh, but it'll be at a council meeting?
Yeah, it's going to be at a council meeting.
Okay. Okay. A motion and a second to declare one car surplus with the understanding that we'll have a second one, and then we'll need the appraisal committee to deal with that at a subsequent meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Carries. Thank you. Number 11, bid openings. First one, A, is a bid for tire hauling and recycling services. And Jose, please.
Yep. The South Dakota Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR, recently awarded the city a $100,000 grant to collect waste tires and dispose of them. The tires to be collected were to be from Clay County, Yankton County, and Union County. The city would be essentially centralizing all the tires and hiring a contractor to dispose of them. Bids that were open in June 22nd. The city sent requests for bids to 4 contractors. From those requests, the city only received one bid. The bid was from Liberty Tire Services of Ohio, LLC, doing business as Liberty Tire Recycling of Savage, Minnesota, in the amount of $115,800. Bidding is required by state law when cost of the project is estimated to exceed $50,000 due to the fact that the grant was double that amount. That we thought it would be prudent to bid the project rather than request quotes. The city will pay for the project from the Joint Powers Landfill Fund. DENR will reimburse the city for the entire cost of the project. Staff has been in contact with DENR regarding the fact that the bid received is greater than the grant amount. DENR has verbally assured the city that the difference between the grant and bid will be reimbursed by DENR. Administration recommends awarding the bid to Liberty Tire Services of Ohio, LLC, DBA Liberty Tire Recycling of Savage, Minnesota for $115,800 contingent upon DENR approval.
Thank you again, Jose. Council?
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the bid for tire hauling and recycling services. Further discussion. Tom?
You indicated that we have verbal assurance from the DENR. Has that been reduced to writing yet, or will we get it in writing, or something more than verbal?
I think at this point they are going to be sticking to the verbal. They have several. I think we're one of the first ones to actually have the bid done. So they're trying to make sure that all the other bids come in at a similar amount. I think they just want to make sure that they have enough money to cover everybody's if everybody's is over bid.
Okay.
So
the minutes of this meeting will put it on record.
It will, to some degree, but
It says verbally assured, so Steve, please.
The bid's for 115, almost 116,000.
Yep.
And the grant is 100,000.
Yep.
So do we pick up the other 16,000?
For the time being, we would, because we are going to be paying for the entire thing, and then we would be getting reimbursed by the state.
Okay.
So we would eventually be reimbursed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Further discussion? We don't have a motion yet, do we, Mike?
Yes, we do.
Oh, we do.
Motion is second.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no? Carries.
Thanks.
Okay, fuel quotes, Mike?
Fuel quotes should have been sitting there in front. Only one quote was received, that from Brunick Service, for unleaded gasoline with 10% ethanol, $1.89 per gallon. Unleaded gasoline regular, $2.14. Number 2 diesel fuel dyed, $1.78. Number 2 diesel fuel clear, $2.07. Administration recommend accepting the only quote.
Council? Motion and a second to approve the only bid. This time we can take the high bid, I guess, if we choose to. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no? Motion carries. Thank you. Next is our city manager's report. John, please.
Thank you. Just a reminder of the special city council meeting coming up on Thursday, July 14th. That'll be at 6:30 p.m. in the large conference room, and that's a city council orientation session that USD Professor Matt Farhone will be leading for the city council, and that's on Thursday, July 14th at 6:30. Also that day, on July 14th, the Bliss Point Park dedication, that's scheduled for approximately 5:15 that day. And there's also a Parade of Homes tour that some of our real estate firms in town are setting up. The public is certainly invited to participate in the park dedication and the other events that are available that evening on Thursday the 14th. Just a reminder, the joint meeting with the Clay County Commission that was previously scheduled, I think it was last week, was postponed. The new date that's been established, it appears, is Monday, July 18th, and that'll be here at City Hall in the council chambers at 5:30 p.m. And the purpose of the joint meeting with the Clay County Commission is to have second reading of Ordinance 1344, which is for an aquifer protection overlay zone in the joint jurisdictional area. And I know a lot of you have, just tracking on the last couple of people here, working on setting up those budget meetings. It's that time of year again. And we're looking to have the budget meetings the week of August 8th. So if you have a few minutes after the meeting, just let me know your availability for that evening. And then final item included in your city council packet were 2 raffle notifications. The USD Law School class of 2018 is selling $10 tickets until December 12th of this year. And these $10 tickets are to help raise funds for their hooding ceremony. And the prize is a custom-made star quilt valued at $500. The second raffle notification is the Eagles are selling $10 tickets, they're $10 each, or they are 3 tickets for $25. The prize is a Green Mountain Grill electric smoker, and it's valued at $750, and all proceeds will go to the Eagles for charitable purposes that they support. And the drawing will be held coming up here on July 16th during the benefit for Tom Cruise.
Thank you, John. Any comments or questions for our city manager? Seeing none, then we'll move on to invoices payable, and this is our opportunity to stump Mike. And you've got quite a list here. Are there any that you'd like to ask Mike to clarify for us? Mike, on 31, that pictometry, how long is that? Is that a 3-year deal or what?
That would be for 1 year period.
1 year. Okay. Is that about what we were paying before? Or?
It's actually $200, $300 less. It's this. We did a 3-year agreement, and they made some changes to the agreement. This is the new 3-year agreement. This is the cost for year 1. So something actually went down.
Okay. Comments or questions for anything?
Move to pay our bills. Second.
Motion and second to pay our bills. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Consensus agenda, we have 2 items. Item A, set a public hearing date of July 18, 2016 for a special permit to exceed permissible sound levels by no more than 50% on West Main Street between High and Prospect Streets on Friday, September 9, 2016 between 5 p.m. and midnight, and on Saturday, September 10, 2016 between 5 p.m. and midnight for Ribs, Rods, Rock and Roll for a Street Dance. Item B, set a public hearing date of July 18th, 2016 for a special daily malt beverage and wine license for Ribs, Rods, and Rock and Roll on or about September 9 and 10, 2016 on Main Street between Washington and Church Street at Radican Plots, Market Street from Main to Bloomingdale Street, Austin Street from Main to Kidder, Kidder Street from Austin to half block east of Market, Court Street from Main to half block south, public parking lot at Market and Kidder, and Prospect from Main Street half block north. So the consensus agenda deals with Ribs, Rods, Rock and Roll.
Move approval of consensus agenda. Second?
Motion to second to approve the consensus agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Steve?
Yes, Judge. Move we adjourn.
Second?
Motion to second to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying
Aye.
opposed, no. Motion carries.